An excerpt from Neither Wolf Nor Dog by Dan Nurburn. "You know," he said, "that's a lot of why we Indians got into trouble with the white man's ways early on. When we make a promise, it's a promise to the Great Spirit, Wankantanka. Nothing is going to change that promise. We made all these promises with the white man, and we thought the white man was making promises to us. But he wasn't. He was making deals. We could never figure out how the white man could break every promise, especially when all the priests and holy men, those men we called the black robes, were involved. We can't break promises. We never could." He picked up a loose splinter on the side of his step. "It's really kind of funny," he continued. "We didn't always agree with the religion the white man brought, but there were things in it we could really understand, like the communion. How that made something sacred whenever it happened. That was just like our tobacco. And the way there were vows, like for marriage. We had vows, too. We had them for everything. A lot of them were private. We didn't need a priest to make them happen, but they were real. They were promises to the Creator to do something. So we thought we were seeing the same thing from the white man, especially when he swore on the Bible or used the name of God to make a promise. But I guess it was a lot like their church. It was only important on some days. The rest of the time it didn't matter." Dan cradled the pipe bundle on his lap like a baby. A hint of melancholy had crept into the old man's voice. He figured the bundle on his lap. "I want to show you something," he said. "You got gas?" "Sure," I answered. "Let's go for a ride," he responded. He was already up and shuffling toward the truck. "Go down this road here," he said. The road was nothing more than 2 tire ruts through an old wash and up over a hill. A few bumpy miles later, the trail met up with another set of ruts that snaked their way up the ridge. My truck was a 4-wheel drive, but I had mainly gotten it to deal with northern Minnesota snows. It wasn't for much off-road driving. Dan started laughing. "You're on a reservation highway, Nurburn," he said. "We want to give the cows a fair shake." I ground the truck down into its lowest gear. We inched our way up the final rise. I pulled to a halt on the top of the ridge. The wind buffeted the truck and whipped the antenna back and forth with its force. Beyond us to the west, the ridge dropped off in a panorama of undulating hills and draws. The prairie grasses bent and moved in the distance like waves on the sea. Dan stepped out and walked to the front of the truck. He took out a small buckskin pouch of tobacco and started sprinkling it in all 4 directions. I could hear him sing a low, slow, melancholy song. The words were in his language, but the heart of the song was universal. It sent a shudder through me. When he was finished, he squatted down on his haunches and stared out to the west. He somehow seemed younger, more alive, more at home. "Let me tell you how we lost the land. They surprised us when they came. We had seen other strangers before, but they were just other people like us, other Indians from different tribes. They would come and ask us to pass through our land. If we wanted them to, we would let them. Otherwise they couldn't. But you see, it wasn't our land like we owned it. It was the land we hunted, or where our ancestors were buried. It was the land that the Creator had given us. It was the land where our sacred stories took place. It had sacred places on it. Our ceremonies were here. We knew the animals. They knew us. We had watched the seasons pass on this land. It was alive, like our grandparents. You need to understand this. We did not think we owned the land. The land was part of us. So when the first of your people came, they just wanted to go through. They promised they would not do any damage. But other strangers came. This time they were like a stream. They came with horses and wagons. They went on paths through our lands. Still, it did not bother us except that it scared the animals, and that these people did not know it was sacred. But we knew they had to eat, so we did not mind when they shot the buffalo. But then these strangers shot animals just to kill them. They left them lying in gullies. They chopped down trees and left animals lay where they were shot. They made loud noises. They seemed like wild people. They were heavy on the land, and they were loud. We tried to stay out of their way, but they made us angry. They made hunting hard for us. They took food from our children's mouths. We did not want them around. Still, they were on small paths, and we were free. We tried to leave them alone, except for the young men, who were most angry. And we did want their rifles. Then something strange happened. These new people started asking us for the land. We did not know what to say. How could they ask for the land? They wanted to give us money for the land. They would give us money for the land if their people could live on it. Our people did not want this. There was something wrong to the Creator in taking money for the land. There was something wrong to our grandparents and our ancestors to make money for the land. Then something happened that we didn't understand. The people who came said that we didn't belong here anymore, that there was a chief in Washington, which was a city far away, and he said the land was his, and he said they could live here, and we could not. We thought they were insane. These people would ride across the land and put up a flag, then say everything between where they started and where they put the flag belonged to them. What they said made no sense. And here is what was really happening. They were talking about property. We were talking about the land. Do you see what I mean? Your people came from Europe because they wanted property for their own. That was what they needed to farm and raise the food to live. They had worked for other people who had claimed all the property and took all the things they raised. They never had anything because they had no property. That is what was behind the whole idea of America as a new country across the ocean, to get property of their own. We didn't know this. We didn't even know what it meant. We just belonged to the land. They wanted to own it. Your people did not know about the land being sacred. We could not talk to each other because we did not understand each other. But pretty soon your people were not like a stream or even a great river anymore. They were like the great ocean. This ocean washed back upon each other. It washed us off our land. Some of us wanted to fight. Some of us wanted to run away. There were old chiefs who said we should make the best deals we could so we could keep our most sacred lands for ourselves. There were even Indians who saw all things white people had and thought we should give up our way because the Creator wanted us to try this new way. We did not know what to do. You were everywhere. You were killing all the animals. The buffalo were gone. The birds were gone. You put 2 rails across the country that the buffalo would not cross. Then you rode by on your trains and shot the buffalo as you passed. You left them to rot in the sun. You would not let us hunt. You gave us blankets and whiskey that made our people crazy. We were put in little pens of land that were like tiny islands in your sea. The worst thing is that you never listened to us. You came to our land and took it away. You made promises and you broke every one. This is what you have to understand. To us, the land was alive. It talked to us. We called her our mother. If she was angry with us, she would give us no food. If we didn't share with others, she might send harsh winters or plagues of insects. We had to do good things for her and live the way she thought was right. She was the mother to everything that lived upon her, so everything was our brother and sister. The bears, the trees, the plants, the buffalo, they were our brothers and sisters. If we treated them with respect and honor, she would be proud. For your people, the land was not alive. It was something that was like a stage where you could build things and make things happen. You understood the dirt and the trees and the water as important things, but not as brothers and sisters. They existed to help you humans live. You were supposed to make the land bear fruit. That is what your God told you. You were stronger, and your way won out. And here is what I wonder. If she sent diseases and harsh winters when she was angry with us and we were good to her, what will she send when she speaks back to you? You had better hope your God is right. That is all I have to say. I sat stunned. The eloquence and the heartbreak had caught me unaware. I felt tears in my eyes. This was the man I had met in the notebooks. Dan said nothing. In all the time he had spoken he had never once looked at me. Now he stood up and walked off along the ridge. I could hear him chanting that strange, tragic dirge again. Far back the dog trailed behind him, limping and panting, until the two of them were but small dots in my vision, and his song had blended with the howlings of the wind.